All right, we're back for another video demonstration on CorelDRAW and EasyStone. Let's go ahead and import our artwork. We have done this once previously for a large design, large shirt design, and now we want to create a smaller version for use on a mask. And so the process is going to be basically more or less the same as we did the first time around. I'm just going to go ahead and we'll walk through the entire design process once again. So the first thing we need to do is set our design size. So I am going to come in here and choose set size, and just like we've done previously, we're going to click on the left and then click on the right, and we're going to set our design. I'm going to set it at 6.75. I was told 7 by 7, but I'm actually going to just do 6.75. I also want to double check my height because I think that's going to be the more critical dimension. And okay, so it is a little bit wider than it is tall. Looking at the design, I would guess it's a little bit taller than it is wider. But so at any rate, there is the design. We're going to right click and lock that object. We are going to assume that we can get this text done here at the bottom with tens, but we don't know. So let's go ahead and drop us that says 10 stone and see how big it is in relationship to the artwork. And in fact, look at there. That's going to work just fine. So for this text, we're going to go back over here to our stone fill tab. We're going to go ahead and use SS 10 stones. I'm just going to put that at the bottom here. And you can see here that this is going to wind up being just a little bit shorter than our original artwork, but that's okay. For our purpose, that'll actually probably benefit us. It'll make the design just a little bit smaller. So that'll actually probably work out real well for us. So we're just going to keep on going on with the process here with a few offsets. And then go ahead and copy this over to our H over here. And delete those stones that we are not going to be using. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy my left, flip it over, and reposition it here. So that takes care of our letter H. And then on my A here, I'm going to go ahead and offset that. We'll come in here, add some stones between these two. I'm then going to mirror those. And I'm just going to use this as my anchor to drop it right there. And we'll go ahead and add some stones there. That takes care of that. And then finally, my letter Z here, we're going to go ahead and offset those. We are going to go ahead, make a duplicate of those, and position them up top here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and manually move that stone to that location. Manually move this stone to this location. If I wanted to do that, let's go ahead and do it more specifically. So we'll use the offset feature, and then we're going to Alt Control and nudge it over. Offset down, Alt Control, nudge it over. That's a little bit more exact, if you will, way of doing it as far as our spacing. Now you can see that this angle is a little bit sharper than the original artwork, but I don't really think in this particular case it really matters that it is that way. So we're just going to go ahead and assume it doesn't matter and carry about. So now we're going to create our equilateral triangle. And we're going to go ahead and make a duplicate line here. We're going to rotate that duplicate line 60 degrees. So let's make a duplicate, rotate it 60 degrees. And then we're going to come down here and reposition it right to the end of there. Well, that didn't really move like I wanted it to. There we go. And then we're just going to mirror this over. And there we have our equilateral triangle. Something's happening here. I don't know exactly what. Ah, it's the edge of the bitmap. Gets us every time. Alright, so now we'll use a smart fill. And there is our equilateral triangle. So we'll go ahead and delete all that. And there's our equilateral triangle. And so now, this one here, I think what we're going to do is the outside, I'm going to use SS16 stones. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use this function here, and we're going to create our white space, and we're going to go from 16 to 6. We're going to offset that to the inside. That becomes our white space, and then we're going to go from 6 to 10, and then we're going to get rid of our white space. Now let's go ahead and start adding some stones to this and see how we're doing here. So we're going to add 16s to the outside. Not sure why it did that, but let's do that again. Add stones. Look at that. It did the same thing. But that's okay. We'll just add stones. Man. That's weird. I don't know why it's giving us those weird error messages, but it's adding our stones anyhow, so I don't really care. So we'll go ahead and delete that outside line there of stones. And then we'll go ahead and let's maybe give these a different color. I don't know that we necessarily need to do that, but let's go ahead and do it anyhow. And in this case, we want to add some 10s. That's strange. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but that's okay. There must be something goofy with our offsets, but it really doesn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. Check all of our overlaps. Get rid of that. And now you can kind of see what we have going here. So what we're going to do, of course, we're going to create our L and our H. And we're just going to come in here and select all of those stones. And we're just going to come over here and hit spacebar, spacebar, spacebar. So we're going to do 5. I'm just trying to think in my head if I want to do more than 5. Let's just go ahead and do 6. It's not going to hurt anything with this design. We'll go ahead and do 6. So we're going to go ahead and select all of these. Get rid of them. Mark a blue stone so we can come in here and select all of those and delete the extras. We're going to delete 2 stones. That will give us our white space there on our H. Then we can go ahead and we'll make a selection of all of those stones, and we're just going to go ahead and copy over 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there we go. We'll go ahead and select these stones again. Get rid of those because we don't need those stones right there. So now our white space has been beautifully restored. Now what we need to do is let's just go ahead and select all of our stones here. Let's go ahead and check for our overlaps. There'll be a whole slew of them, 21 of them. And let's go ahead and reposition this back over our design so we can get a handle on exactly where we want our H to be. So we're going to delete that one and that one. That's going to become our H, and our H is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide. So we'll go ahead and delete these. And we'll mark that stone. That's where we're going to copy it over. So let's go ahead and make a selection of all of these. And just come over and drop them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have this stone and this stone here. We're going to add stones. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to come down 1, 5, and 6. So you can see we're not exactly like the original design, but as I said, in this case, I don't think it matters. So we're going to delete these extra stones that are popping out over here. We're going to go ahead and select this row of stones and delete it. We're going to select this row of stones and delete those. And now we see that there's a bit of a design problem. And I didn't notice it at first, but I definitely notice it now. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to back off. We're only going to have one line of spacing. We're going to also back off to just having 5 lines. So we can, let me come in here. We're just going to make a few adjustments here on the fly. So let's go ahead and check our spacing. Bunch of overlaps. We'll get rid of as many as we can for right now. I'm going to go ahead and select all of those stones and this one and move that up a notch. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Select, move those up a notch, and then I have to move those up a notch again. So we're just going to have one line of spacing. We're going to get rid of one row like that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going that way, and that's what we want. And then this way, the horizontal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what we want. Let's go ahead and get rid of this row. That gives us 5. And then we'll come down here and get rid of that one row. And we'll get rid of that one row. And so now, again, the horizontals, there's 5. And this way there's 5, and this way there's 5. So it ultimately gives a better look. Go ahead and copy that over 1 because we only want one line of spacing there. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just copy those over. And then connect the dots here. Okay. Now we've basically got our design complete. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of touch up here and see what we've got. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and select everything. Get rid of any paths that we have. Get rid of any overlapping stones that we have. There was 4 of them. We're going to use our freehand selection tool to select some of these odd colored stones there. Change those out. And there we have it. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our triangle piece. Group that. We're going to select our text. We are going to group that. And then we're going to center everything up with one another. So now everything's centered up with one another. And I'm going to call that done. I'm going to go ahead and check the spacing again. There are no conflicting stones. And then that would become the finished design. So let's go ahead and use our quick proof function. It's going to simulate the stones and add our stone information to the design. I'm going to change that back to black. And there we have it. That is the finished product. So this design actually did work out quite fine, even at the smaller size. And, obviously it looks real good. So, another one down. Thanks for watching.